woke up in the middle of the night, and I said to myself, Alfie, are you asleep? I touched my eyes, and they were open. So I said, no, I'm not asleep. But that could be wrong. Maybe a person could sleep with her eyes open. Then I said to myself, at this moment, am I thinking? I really wonder. And I answered myself, dummy, if you can wonder, you must be thinking. And if you're thinking, then no matter what Seth says, you're for real. The first book just sort of exploded in my head one night. I couldn't sleep, and that whole thing played itself out as a story.
Matthew Lipman writes stories for children that are more than just adventures of the imagination. They're designed to make children of all ages think like philosophers.
So I said, no, I'm not asleep. But that could be wrong. Maybe a person could sleep with her eyes open.
Then I said to myself, at this moment, am I thinking? I really wonder.
And I answered myself.
Matthew Lipman walked out on a chair of philosophy at Columbia University 16 years ago because he was convinced that conventional education wasn't working. Children were failing to learn because they weren't being taught to think. The solution, he decided, lay in philosophy itself. That's why a religious retreat in the backwoods of New Jersey, USA, has been taken over by philosophers. They're here to study Lipman's Philosophy for Children program, to learn how to drop the thoughts of the great philosophers into the open minds of small children.
It's an awful thing for her. She doesn't want anybody else to know that she's made this discovery. And Socrates thought that this was the discovery we should all make. And I wonder...
The philosophers are discussing a Matthew Lipman story called Elfie, in which a young girl goes on an adventurous journey into the workings of her own mind.
What's the difference between Socrates, how he lived his life, knowing that he didn't know anything, and Elfie here?
Socrates is renowned for his courage. He was courageous in battle, and he's courageous in Athens for doing what nobody else dares to do. To question everything. And Elfie's afraid to question, but she knows that questioning is where it's at.
I would like to say just a little bit more, because
Dr. Catherine McCall, originally from Scotland, a psychologist as well as a philosopher, has been teaching philosophy for children in American schools for 6 years.
The way the dialogue emerges is very joyful.
The postgraduate students have no experience in the art of teaching logic and reason to children. It's a skill they've come here to acquire.
Children, they love it. It's a mystery adventure. It's a magical mystery tour for them. It's almost as though the dialogue or the argument has its own life. That is the experience which empowers the children.
Catherine is describing the impact of the philosophy program on children like Caitlin, who go to Tuscan School in a Greenbelt suburb of New Jersey.
Anyone remember what we were talking about last time we had philosophy, Steve?
Characters and people that could be in books, and books that could be real or fake, true or not true, or partly true and partly fake.
Gosh, that was quite a lot. That's a summary of our whole discussion.
And that Mike Tyson could be in a book.
And Mike Tyson could be in a book.
Yeah.
And Mike Tyson's real. Okay, Robbie? Everyone got page 4? We'll read together aloud, all right? Adam, you ready? Okay. Last night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I said to myself, Alfie, are you asleep?
These 6-year-olds all have learning difficulties. In this school, they're described as slow thinkers and are a year behind their age group. Now they've been introduced to philosophy for children in the hope that it will sharpen their thinking skills.
A person could sleep with her eyes open. Then
The philosophy program was introduced here 2 years ago, and the academic standards of the children who've tried it have risen dramatically.
really wonder. Fairy tales. Sometimes they're real?
I don't really think so sometimes, because most books, like their imagination, I think most.
So that would mean they wouldn't be real.
Some books.
Some.
Yeah.
Philosophy begins when children start to question the meaning of words.
Rabbit. Elsie is a girl.
Oh, you think she's a girl?
She is, because in our philosophy book, it said Elsie, she may not talk a lot, but she could think a lot, and she could give pretty good questions, but not that many answers. Yeah, so Elsie has to be a girl that has the strength. She only knows some things.
She only knows some things.
What we consider philosophy is an inquiry. It's an exploration of ideas, and it's a quest that follows a certain line of investigation, as a detective might follow a line of investigation. There's a spoor, there's a trace, there's something that you're looking for, and it doesn't mean you go straight. I mean, children in a classroom or philosophers will tack back and forth like a boat trying to go into the wind. They will go this direction, they will go that direction, but on the whole, they go forward. And that's the difference between a philosophical dialogue and a mere conversation. There's a forward movement.
When you're thinking in philosophy, what's that like, Kevin? Or Stevie, you can go first.
It's fun.
Okay, what happens? Why is it fun?
That's because you learn more things and you're not so bored.
You're not so bored. Why are you not bored?
Because there's something to do. And you have a lot of things to do, and you can talk a lot.
You can talk a lot.
There's something to do. Talk, run, and think.
And
That's
think.
true.
Stevie, did you want to say something?
Yeah. In philosophy, you learn other things because other people, then you learn from other people that know things that you don't know, but other people learn from you too.
Wow! So you get a chance to learn from other people and listen to other people, and they get a chance to listen to you. Anything else? What do you think, Lauren? What do you think about doing philosophy? Okay. One last, Stevie. Okay, quick.
Sometimes you learn what you already know.
Sometimes you learn what you already know.
Yeah.
Wow. That's something to think about. You create a situation in which the child generates the philosophy. It's the children who generate the ideas, and they, in fact, work with the thoughts, the concepts, the ideas which they find interesting, not the ones which the adult find interesting. And that's just tremendously exciting. I mean, it's exciting for us, it's exciting for the children. They are not nearly as frightened about the risk of intellectual adventure as an adult is.